Welcome to Everyday Entrepreneurs Everywhere with your host, Chris Parker.
Well, hello, Chris Parker here. I'm back with a very good friend, longtime friend, Joe Park. I've met Joe, you'll have to remind me, Joe, but I think we've met each other in 8th grade across a line of football, growling at each other or something. That's sort of what I remember back in the days. But
that is true. I didn't know who the hell you were, except for this giant thing across me that I tried to get around. But
yeah, so here we are, trying to get around each other again. So, Joe, tell us who you are and what do you do?
I am a videographer. I have a video production company, Joe Park Films, that I've been running for 20 years. We do mostly corporate promo work and some event coverage stuff, a little mix of both. And then the occasional, really fun creative stuff. It all started, I guess you could say it started back in college 30 years ago, or 25 years ago, when I grew up as a bit of a movie geek and was going to school, going to major in history. And one day we were walking out of a movie theater and I literally stopped dead in my tracks and said, why am I going to school for history? I should go to film school. And I basically was a college dropout at that point on, moved back down 500 miles south with my folks and started going to film school at the local community college. And then basically just started buying cameras and started a little video production company. And I've been doing it ever since. It's not exactly making, the $200 million movies that I envisioned at one point, but there's a lot of reasons for that. And I do. And like I said, I get to explore my creative side at times, whether it be short films or music videos or documentaries or things like that.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons why, other than my just adoring you as a person, but one of the reasons why I thought, for everyday entrepreneurs everywhere, the theme of the podcast was, even before you were finished with university or college, you started this vocation, this passion, and effectively you've been able to support your lifestyle with this and other activities. And so for me, it's a perfect entrepreneurial story. Maybe not $200 million, success, but, following your passion, and you've led your life. So it's allowed
me to leave the life of leisure that I so very much enjoy.
Yeah.
In that it pays well. I don't have to work as often as most people do. And it's allowed me to, it's taken me to Australia. It's taken me to Europe. I've worked in Southeast Asia. And it's taken me all over the States, and you could spend a lifetime, in the States without seeing a hundredth of it.
Yeah.
And I actually had never flown before I started doing this in the States. I had never flown to the East Coast. And now I've been to, for work, I've been to Manhattan 13 times. I've been to, pretty much just about every big city in the States. And there's some places on my list I haven't been able to hit yet for work. Working on that. But it's fun to be able to go and see new places and go on new adventures and get paid to do it.
Nice. And you said there's all sorts of reasons why it maybe hasn't been as financially successful as you had hoped?
Well, no, it's not that. In terms of the dream is to become this giant movie maker. And to do that, there's basically one of two ways to do that. At least back in my day, before all this digital video and stuff, it was basically you either needed to move to Hollywood and start as a production assistant and slave away and just kind of work your way up. I was never interested in moving to LA, nor being a PA. The other way would be to basically go out and raise money and make your own film. And I was never very comfortable going out and say, hey, can I have $100,000?
Yeah.
I'm a film student. I'd love to make this 15-minute short and take it around Hollywood to, and I'm not a salesman. So that was just never my thing. So I just started my own little video production company and just, I've done little things, as you know, over the years, and I get to feed that creative side on occasion, but it's not something I need to do all the time.
So in your company, the there must be all sorts of opportunities to do different things that come across. What is the sweetest sort of project that you get, within the scope of your of Joe Park Films? What's the dream project for you right now?
Well, the dream project would be, oh Lord, would be a combination of, okay, we're going to, pay you to travel somewhere, and we're going to give you sort of creative license to do whatever you want. And it's gonna be something fun, like something adventurous, like, we're taking a ship into Alaska, and we need someone to tell our story, because we're going to go visit some, ancient burial ground where there might be ghosts, just something really fun and out there and crazy, going to fun places. That's the stuff I would like to do. I don't, that's not something that I really get to do, but because generally, for example, I've been paid to go to Australia 5 times. The jobs I've done there have been really boring, but I didn't really care, because, hey, I get to travel to Australia for free. Mm-hmm. And when I'm there, for example, if I have a job in Sydney, I'll get the job done, but then I'll bounce, through Melbourne or wherever else and see the country while I'm there. I did a job there once where we were shooting a TV show for like a medical TV show. And we were doing a lot of man on the street interviews, and we were driving from Sydney all the way up to Brisbane doing that. And that was fun. But it's not the dream project. The dream project would be ultimately someone handing me $5 million and say, hey, go make a movie about go about sailing the Caribbean or something, someplace really exotic with a white sand beach.
Cocktail. They've already made that.
Exactly. That would be a better dream.
Do you have a dream script in your head already? Do you have a concept of what
I've written about 20 pages of about 6 or 7 different feature-length movies, and then gotten bored with them and stopped.
Yeah.
That's always in my head. That eventually we'll get there on one of those. Because now, I have the means at which to do it with the gear that I own.
Yeah.
And do it at a high level and make it look really good. It's just finding that time to where all of a sudden I have that sort of financial cushion to be like, okay, I can stop working for the next 4 months and devote myself to this. I just don't have that ability to do that right now. And right now, as we speak, we're in the middle of COVID, so we can't do a lot of anything right now.
I was talking to Christian Kniga, who I know you know of, at least maybe you've even met, the director that I work with sometimes. And in hindsight, I'm really kicking myself, because this would have been potentially a great time to go make a film, because everyone's idle. You'd have to find a way to do it safely at a keeping distance and stuff. But everyone had free time, so next time there's this global pandemic, I want to get my creative juices going fast instead of let this fear uncertainty thing take over. But, if you have if you have the means, like if you have like the people that are also available, and you can go out and do it safely. God, it really is the perfect time. You also occasionally do the wedding video. You were kind enough to come over and do my wedding video, which we just still adore and treasure.
I do occasionally. Yeah, we do event coverage. Used to be like. That's how a lot of guys start, because it's you can go get a camera and you can cover weddings cheap and learn how to shoot. As I've gotten older, getting nearing 50, those weddings take their toll physically, and they're not things I want to do that often anymore. Yeah. So I only book a select amount per year now, just because I just don't. It's just not how I want to spend my time, even though they are hard to turn down sometimes because they pay well. But I only do a few a year. I used to do about 40 a year. Now I do about half a dozen. But
my advice to people is don't hire some teenage kid with a handycam. Because,
I couldn't agree more.
Because what I appreciate about what you were doing is you actually, talked to us in advance and understood the flow of the day and try to figure out what the experience was we wanted to capture. And then you had the foresight to capture all this B-roll that you were able to, put it in there to actually stitch together, basically a work of art. And I don't think that's a skill that comes with time, I guess.
It's basically you're basically just shooting a documentary of the day. I mean, it's storytelling. it takes to be able to do it right. It does take experience, and I would give people the same advice. If you don't have any money, fine, hire your cousin, whatever. But if you can afford it, to hire someone with experience whose work you've seen, and don't get me started. I could go on for.
I've got you started.
A week about what people should do about hiring a wedding videographer.
What are the three main points if you're going to hire a wedding videographer or an event videographer, essentially, because it's essentially an event? What are the three main pieces of advice?
Obviously, you have to look at their work and see that their work is good.
Yeah.
Secondly, I would say you want to talk to and hire the person who's going to be there. You don't want to hire a company and then they'll say, "Hey, well, we'll send someone over there." What does that mean? Yeah. Or don't worry, I'll send one of my top guys. Well, what does that mean? Yeah. I want to talk to the person who's going to be there, specifically if it's going to be a wedding, because you're inserting yourself into the biggest day of their life. I mean, you're going to be there standing next to them or near them more often than most of their family will be that day.
Yeah.
So it's important that you have not only good filmmaking skills, but that you're personable and that you get along with them, and not even just get along, but you have chemistry. I think is important because you have to have, you want to make it fun for them. Like I think one of my biggest things is when I show up is I want to make their day more fun, not less fun. When I show up with a camera, I don't want them to think, "Oh God, here's the cameraman. Now I'm nervous or I'm anxious." Instead, I want to be, "Oh, sweet. There's Joe. Hey Joe, come on in. There's my buddy." And then so I tell a lot of silly jokes. I get to know them beforehand if I can. If they're local, that we meet up. I not only at my studio, but I usually try to do some sort of like happy hour meetup beforehand, so we get to know each other a little bit. If that's not possible, we'll do something like what you and I are doing right now.
Yeah.
Because in California we have a lot of people who come in for weddings from out of town, out of state, especially San Diego. It's a real wedding destination. Yeah. The entire state of Arizona moves to San Diego in the summertime. It seems like. Because right now in Phoenix, Arizona, it's probably about 112 degrees Fahrenheit for you people. Celsius, what's that about? That's about 31, right?
Yeah, well, more, I think.
34?
Yeah.
Okay. I think, so I guess that was three things, right? Like skills, you hire the right person, and that they're personable and you have chemistry.
I imagine, in my world of corporate technology, that also applies. So I think if you're hiring any expert and if people are hiring you for corporate jobs, I'm assuming it's the same way because, do you have the skill? Can you connect? Can you tell the story? Can you, because for me, this, that you've been involved in way more film than I, ever will be, but it is an artistic thing and there is stress and there's human emotion going on. So to know you're able to click and the person is an expert and have trust in that person, I think is huge. And that goes with any consulting expert type thing, I guess.
Yeah, and in my work in particular, when I do corporate work, most of my corporate work is documentary style, sit down, interview, promo work. So, and when I do it, I don't bring a producer. I'm the producer. So not only do I have to run the camera, but I have to run the interview. So, there's an art form to be able to get, if you know this is the topic that's being discussed, this is what they're trying to promote, what they're trying to sell. You have to learn that ahead of time so you can ask the right questions. Yeah. And then get the right answers out of them, because some people you can say, "Okay, tell me about your product," and they will just go and they'll yabber on forever, and they're great, but maybe they're too long-winded, and you just want a really good 30-second soundbite for their promo, not 10 minutes about every little detail about the product. So you have to know how to get you have to know how to get those answers. So having those skills as a producer and an interviewer are very important in what I do. Yeah. Because that's the majority of the work that I do, frankly, actually.
And that's all the human work, that's all interacting and it almost sounds a bit more directorial as well, teasing out the best performance out of these people.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, that's what it really is. It is a performance. You're trying to get them mostly just to relax and give you good answers. Because it'll work better ultimately for their end product, but it's not always easy. I shot one in Memphis about 10 years ago with a guy who was the president of not the United States, but the National Association of Cosmetic Dentistry, basically meaning He was the president of the entire country for cosmetic dentists. It's a big deal. He goes all around the country speaking, and he couldn't speak on camera. We couldn't get answers out of him. I'm like, are you nervous? And he's like, no, I'm not nervous at all. I just can't do it on camera. And it took 6 hours to get 3 minutes of usable video from him.
Well, I don't know. You must be good at teasing people into a performance and a comfortable performance, because I know when I first started trying to make videos for Ebullient with Christian's help, God, it was painfully bad. Even worse than it is right now. It was artificial. I was talking weird. It just something, So he even advised that it was so bad that I should be running off of a script with a teleprompter, which I played with a little bit. But then I just started making films, and of myself, the little sound bites and stuff.
Yeah.
And slowly they got less and less and less horrible. And so it's almost every day that I tweak and play with a little bit. So Mr. Park with Joe Park Film Enterprises. How do you win business? What's your sales process look like? Because
I don't have a sales presence. I'm literally 100% referral based.
Okay.
So
that is a process. That is perhaps the strongest process. But so how do you get new business coming in? Sales
make me very uncomfortable, frankly. If someone calls me and says, "Hey, I need this," or "I'm interested in this," or I have a conversation with someone in a bar or a restaurant that they just happen to describe, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing a video," or something like that, then I'm good at selling it, because I just tell them what I do and how I do it.
Yeah,
I'm very comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with searching for new business and like trying to reach out. Like I'm not a cold caller or that kind of stuff. I'm not the kind of guy that's comfortable having like a team of people, like out there working for me, shooting video. I like to do the work myself. Otherwise I just get too, stressed out about it. That's just the way I am. I like being a one man band. And fortunately, there's always just been work there, just from one person to the other. I found that my best sales person is just my work.
Yeah.
And myself. If I do good work and I treat people with respect, and I make the situations that we find ourselves in these videos, the sets and whatnot, if I make them fun and loose, then people enjoy working with me, then they will pass my name on to the next person. And that has worked wonders for me in terms of sales. That's just the way it's always been.
Is there anywhere you wouldn't travel to for work?
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be super excited about going to North Korea, but I would do it under the right circumstances.
Yeah.
I really don't think there'd be anywhere I wouldn't go. I think I might be, I'm not one of those guys, for example, I would never be like a Deadliest Catch cameraman. If you've ever seen that show, or if anyone watching this has ever seen that show, it's about the Alaskan fishermen and the crab fishermen, and the cameramen. I mean, they're up 20 hours a day on a ship that's going like this 24/7. I mean, I wouldn't do stuff like that. That would be just miserable. I wouldn't put myself in these really, really extreme circumstances where you're physically miserable, because I'm just too old for that kind of work now. But otherwise, no, I would go anywhere. At least I can't think of any place I wouldn't go.
Yeah, cool. And honestly, I think another good friend of mine gave me some coaching advice not long ago, where, again, about Ebullient, which is something that I've started essentially during Corona as a coaching business. And he politely and firmly just said, "Hey, Chris, stop selling. Nobody wants to be sold to. Just let people buy. Make it clear what you do, the value you create, and just make it very easy for people to buy. And the right people will buy." And I think those are beautiful words. And it sounds like that's what you do naturally, anyhow. So referral business is glorious.
I find that usually if I'm in competition with other companies for whether it be a corporate job or a wedding or whatever, I tend to win more of those competitions than I lose. And it's usually just because I don't sell. I just say, this is what I do. And I usually will also say, oh, and by the way, if you don't, I'll usually refer someone else too. I'm like, oh, but so-and-so is also good. If you don't like the way I do it, or my pricing doesn't work for you or whatever. And people sometimes kind of are a little,
what? Yeah.
Why are you referring to someone else? I'm like, well, I mean, I'm comfortable. I know I do a good job. I don't need to sell you on that. And if you don't pick me, that's fine, because someone else will. So I'm perfectly happy with referring to others too. And I find that actually, since I've started doing that, it tends to allow me to get actually more sales than less by referring to others, because people then realize, oh, he really is not trying to sell me here. He's just.
Well, in some of the communities that I'm in, we call this the scarcity mindset versus the abundance mindset. And it sounds like you just naturally have this abundance mindset, meaning there is work out there. And you don't have to be, asshole-ish or dickish in order to win the deal because, oh my God, there's no more deals left. But I think you've sort of been that way all your life. I've known you for a lot of it, but it's been very relaxed that way. And what percentage of your life have I known you?
It's been 34 years of 48. So that's probably about 75%.
Yeah. Now, incredible.
Clearly, I'm almost about 72%, I think.
So, I'm now going further, diving deeper into Joe Park Film Enterprises. How have you? Are there any highlights or tips that you have learned to make your creative process more efficient?
Yes. At least for me personally, it's. With video making or filmmaking, everyone wants to call it filmmaking now, because if you're a videographer, that's a bad word. That means you're like running around with a 1980s camera, and we're all filmmakers now.
Okay.
That's don't get me started on that. What I had, the thing that specifically to that works for me is I find that I have a way of doing the videos that I do, and I had to get comfortable with the idea that this is how I do them. I do a very good job, and I had to be comfortable with that and not try to win an Oscar every time I sat in the editing bay. Once I became comfortable with, okay, no, this is my style. I don't have to spend 30 hours on something that I can edit in 8. And that I guess that's what I'm trying to. It's for example. Back in the day, I used to watch a lot of wedding videos when I was first into it. I'm like, oh, that guy does that. That's better than me. Damn it. I got to learn how to do that. And that's great, because you get better. That's how you learn. You learn by doing, that's how you learn. You get better that way. But eventually I got to the point where I'm like, okay, this is what I do. It's great. I don't have to try to reinvent the wheel every time. I should just do videos that my clients love and be comfortable with that. I think as a creative person, sometimes you get caught in that trap of trying to do something different every time you work. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, it means everything takes 3 times as long, and then you get backlogged, and then stress comes up. Instead, you should just go, no, I can do this way, but I've done it 100 times. It's okay to do it 101 times if it's great work. There's nothing wrong with great work. It doesn't have to be different every time. And so basically, sort of to a degree, fighting off the creative side of me who wants to do something different and new every single time I do something, and just, be comfortable with not always doing that, and just sometimes just cranking out the work, which they will love. It's because it's great work. And just because you've done it similarly before, it doesn't matter, because they don't know that. I mean, if you've done a video that looks like a video you did 3 years ago, who cares? If the client loves it and it's great work.
Well, I loved what you did, and as I'm thinking about it, I think you even did my sister's wedding, and she loved what you did. People are referring you for corporate work all the time, so they love what you're doing. So,
and it applies for both events and corporate work and anything and all that. It's just like know what know what the end product needs to be, and just do it, and not worry about trying to reinvent the wheel every time.
Yeah,
but you can feed your creative side in other ways.
Yeah, something that I battle all the time is coined in the term of perfection is the enemy of profit. And
yeah, amen.
And yeah, so I think, for me, that with this ebullient journey, to focus on simplifying thought in order to accelerate business, I think it's my own treatment sometimes against my own over engineering and over perfectionism. And if you lean in and try to teach what you need, that the best way to learn something is to teach it. So.
Yeah.
But so I'm going to go a little off piste here and bring up some other creative activities that you have embarked on recently with your entrepreneurial spirit. Can you give us a few words about Uncle Joe?
I love to cook. I've loved to cook for a long time. And with
Uncle Joe's Taco Club.
Uncle Joe's Taco Club. UncleJoe'sTacoClub.com. And for years, people have been trying to get me to do like an internet, and I've talked about it with friends, God, forever, my own cooking show. And like we discussed earlier, COVID has given certain opportunities to be creative because we're stuck in our houses. And so I said, well, now's probably the time to start doing that. And so I've started UncleJoe'sTacoClub.com. As of right now, it's just a blog with recipes. I have started shooting some of the videos, which will make up Uncle Joe's Taco Club, the TV show, which will be, of course, YouTube. They are not live yet, but I'm working on them. And
so
there you go.
I'm just bringing it up for the people watching the video because go to UncleJoe'sTacoClub.com because, my God, this is a tandoori chicken taco with pineapple mint salsa. I just, damn you, Joe.
Yeah, the food's good. I wouldn't put it on there if it wasn't delicious.
Oh my God. This is a blackened shrimp and bacon tacos.
And all those pictures I've taken with my iPhone too, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. So tell me the dream behind the Uncle Joe's Taco Club, and I'm still waiting for the merch. I want the swag, my brother.
Well, I've got the logo now, so I've actually looked into it. I know how much it's going to cost me, and I'm almost there in terms.
What do you
mean
cost you to do what?
To get you have to buy the merch before you can sell it.
No, go to Spreadshirt or something.
Well, I mean, I've got it worked out. Trust me.
Okay. All right. American XXL, European 3XL, so American XXL.
Okay, that's good to know.
I want the the first press.
Wait, what was the question?
Uncle Joe's Taco Club. We've got 2 minutes. Tell me
just more about it. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I thought there was another question for some reason.
No.
The show will be basically, there's a million cooking shows on YouTube. Everyone seemingly with a camera and a tripod and a kitchen has made one. The spin I would say that this will have is it'll be, it'll look and sound better than most because I have really high-end equipment, and I know how to use it. And it's still going to be very simply lit, just a couple of lights and me in the kitchen, but there'll be some filmmaking elements, some creative filmmaking elements that will be put into it that will make it, I think, more fun.
Yeah.
And it'll be humor. If you guys should go on the blog and you read the recipes, I've got my humor in there already.
I'm sure. It looks so good.
I can't go through this life without trying to make a joke out of everything.
Good.
So I can't do, and as much to what you were talking about earlier, as far as being more relaxed on camera, it's so far been a bit of a struggle for me to flip things around and put myself in front of the camera. I'm comfortable doing it, but I'm not very good at it yet. But I think that just takes reps.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep repping it. So,
yeah.
Hey, Uncle Joe, we are out of time. So joeparkfilms.com, Uncle Joe's Taco.
On Facebook, you can join the group, Uncle Joe's Taco Club, if you find it, and send in a request to join it. It's just it's not a group for me. It's a group for people to share their pictures of and share their love of tacos.
And I do. So let's share the love of tacos.
We would love that to be like a worldwide phenomenon of a group and have people sharing their tacos from Thailand and Russia. And
let's make it so.
Uruguay, etc. All right. Thanks, Christopher. Love you. Cheers. Learn more at ebullient.com/podcast.